on this computer.
All right. So we're here today with Andrea King.
Hello.
I'm Thaddeus Ferguson. I guess I should start saying who I am.
Yes.
And we're here today. We've been talking about David Dita's book, The Way of the Superior Man.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you. And today we're going to talk about vulnerability, specifically vulnerability as a weakness or as a strength, and how it can lead to personal growth.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
I just realized something really funny. The title of this book, the subtitle is A Spiritual Guide to Mastering the Challenges of Women Work and Sexual Desire. So, I mean, that alone feels like, I mean, it doesn't, I love this book, so, but that alone could be really a challenge why women wouldn't like this book. Like, oh, the challenges of women, like, oh, what we're challenging, Yes, we are. Okay. We are complex emotional beings, and they're trying to understand us. So just let them understand us. That's all I got.
I don't understand that.
Oh no, my internet connection's unstable. That's not.
Is that why you're freezing? I thought maybe it was my brain.
Oh, you're freezing. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna turn off my Wi-Fi because I have a line connection. Hang on, if I lose you, I'll start this back up. Let me. All right. Well, if it'll work. This is still going to stay connected. Okay, we might have to just crop over. I'll just clip this part off. We'll just restart.
So I'm here today with Andrea King, who's reading The Way of the Superior Man, which is what we're talking about. And today we're going to be talking about vulnerability as a strength or a weakness, and how it can lead to personal growth as a catalyst for personal growth.
Absolutely. I just realized as I was looking at this cover that the subtitle is A Spiritual Guide to Mastering the Challenges of Women, Work, and Sexual Desire. And I know a lot of women, I think, but I don't know. This book can be challenging to you if you're not understanding the reasoning for it, that the primal nature of men and women is all this is talking about. This isn't going into any complexities. This is very basic information. And when as a woman seeing the subtitle, Mastering the Challenges of Women, it's like, what am I challenging? Am I challenging you? And I think the answer is absolutely yes. If you're an authentic human woman, then you're definitely challenging, because we're complex emotional beings and we're different every minute. And we can drive people crazy with that. So for me, this book, I read it a long time ago, and I've read it again recently with my husband. And it's so, when you can take this information and ingest it, can be really powerful. We're going to focus on vulnerability.
Yes. And there was a page on there, 27. Do you still have that open?
Yeah. So this is kind of what stood out to me. I was just kind of looking through the table of contents, like, well, what addresses vulnerability? And there's a lot of different topics in here. Chapter 7 is Your Purpose Must Come Before Your Relationship. And this is, again, it's geared towards men, written for men, but I think everybody should read this. Every man knows that his highest purpose in life cannot be reduced to any particular relationship. If a man prioritizes his relationship over his highest purpose, he weakens himself, disserves the universe, and cheats his woman of an authentic man who can offer her full, undivided presence. And, to me, that's like, a woman has to allow her man to be who he is, and a man has to trust that he can be who he is. So that's where the vulnerability comes in for me, is not trying to control your partner, not telling them how to be or who to be or what to like, or but celebrating, empowering, and uplifting, and watching them I think it's kind of amusing to me at this point. I love watching humans. I love human behavior, but sometimes I'll watch my husband, and it's just amusing when I don't try to change or control anything, and how much I completely adore all the weird stuff that he does. I love it.
And for me, the vulnerability aspect, as a man, it's almost like you have a choice. You can either be vulnerable and be willing to lose the relationship, or you can not be vulnerable and lose yourself.
Yeah.
Which is why I appreciate that he says your purpose has to come before your relationship, because that's in essence your purpose is what you're here for, and the vulnerability is my purpose is why I'm here, and if you can't align with my purpose, then this relationship can't exist. And that's a real vulnerable place to be in. And at the same time, if you're not in that vulnerable place, then the woman can never get to know you because you're not true to yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's the hard part, because it's like, especially with all the societal conditioning that goes on, sometimes a man's purpose isn't what society says it's supposed to be. and it's like I have a few friends that are making like six figures, and they want to be teachers or serve the greater good, but the greater good doesn't provide that paycheck. And being vulnerable sometimes means, hey, you know what, I'm going to take this lesser job. And I shouldn't even say lesser job. I'm going to take this purpose-filled job,
right,
that's going to require us to sacrifice all these gifts that I'm able to provide with this job that's not lighting me up. And that's a real vulnerable position for a man to be in, because sometimes, as you were saying earlier, like you get involved in these relationships in your 20s and you have this idea of what's supposed to be happening, and then you hit the mountaintop and you're like, this mountain fucking sucks.
yeah.
All of this sucks. Yeah, all of this stuff sucks.
Yeah.
But you know what lights me up is helping these kids, or whatever your purpose might be. But I've created this illusion with my partner or imaginary partner, whatever it may be, that I need this stuff to be in a relationship. And it requires a vulnerability to say, hey, you know what, this is where I want to go, but I'm gonna have to let go of all this stuff. Are you still gonna ride with me? Or and sometimes it's like that's the vulnerability that has to be there. And for a man, it can be tough, because it's like, oh, a woman's like, oh, just be vulnerable with me, but provide me with all the stuff. And it's like he has to be willing to let go of the stuff and see if she's still there. Because vulnerability, the truth is sometimes the relationship's not going to continue. And that's the vulnerable part. If that wasn't at risk, then it wouldn't be vulnerable.
Yeah, and it's so on like a macro level, say like obviously you're talking about making a huge life change. Like, okay, I've been a provider for my family, I make plenty of money, and we have this lifestyle, but what I really want to do is this. But on a micro level, there's other stuff going on that creates that foundation of trust and communication, where when you share, like, I'm feeling like I'm not in my purpose, does your partner help you figure out what that is and support you in that? Or do like, well, then go away, like, do you have an opportunity to work on that macro level? Like, I really feel like I want to work with kids, and I really want to do something as a teacher. Is like, okay, well, where can you maybe volunteer or show up in a way that feeds that part of your purpose? And so it could be a more gradual transition into a huge life change that affects your whole family, and you eventually leave your job, but set financial things up and on the way. So I think that, like, we tend to, I was talking to a lady the other day, she's like, I want to quit smoking. And I'm like, well, don't quit smoking. That's a huge life change. Smoke 10% less, and then smoke with intention, and then notice why you're smoking and when you're smoking. And she's like, I've already started doing that. As I notice I smoke when, I'm like, well, good. So then smoke 20% less. I said, if you make this change gradually, you can be successful at it, and then end up a non-smoker who feels better and has saved all this money, instead of being a cold turkey quitter that starts up again next week because it's too much. It's a big change. So I think that vulnerability on a macro level is something that's really important to talk about, because relationships avoid those little conversations and avoid that conflict. So, you know, if that makes sense, like if you want to change, you know, I like your example, like if you want to change something really big, but you bring that up and your partner just wants nothing to do with it and won't even have that conversation, then that's the conversation to have. Like, you know, if we can't be vulnerable with each other and be real with each other, what do we have? And that's a more challenging conversation. It's like, what's our foundation really built on? Do you trust me? You know, do you trust me as your partner? You know, and this obviously, if we're going with the polarity of this book, that goes with the man as the provider, protector, and leading the relationship in a big way. But obviously, this goes in both directions. You know, there's lots of different situations this will apply to, because if you're in a relationship with a partner and you want to empower them and lift them up and let them be who they are and shine their light in this world and live their purpose, like that to me is the ideal relationship. And when you can meet these challenges productively and consciously, and you know, like, hey, this is coming up for me and let's talk about it. And you know, I'm saying this because that's the relationship that I'm in finally, which which is fantastic. And I mean, we talk about everything, and no matter what it is, there's always a resolution to it. It may be a compromise in some situations, but there's always a resolution. So vulnerability, it's scary because it challenges that safety. So I think that, you know, feeling safe to be vulnerable is like probably the biggest conversation here. Like, how do you create safety in your relationship so that vulnerability becomes intimacy?
Yeah, and it's interesting because I like the example you gave of the cigarette smoker too, because that's also in relationship to the vulnerability, because it's like, what are you doing when a vulnerable situation happens? Are you putting yourself out there, or is that when you grab the cigarette or the Cheetos, the cookies, the unhealthy cookies that you're looking for?
Yes.
It's like, I can be vulnerable right now, or I can have these cookies, which for my example is a challenge. When you're making good money, you can get lots of distractions that don't require you to be vulnerable. That's why sometimes the most beautiful relationships are the ones that are dirt poor, because all they have is the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like, that is the relationship. I'm vulnerable, you're vulnerable, we're stuck right here together, and you're going to feel everything because we don't have anything else.
Yeah.
All we have is each other, literally.
Yeah. It's real.
So those can be beautiful, where if you're making 8-9 figures, you know, oh, rather than be vulnerable, let's go to Greece this weekend. Let's go on a cruise around the world 18 different times, and we'll go to this and this concert, and then we'll fly to Vegas this week, and we'll avoid all the big conversations because we can afford stuff.
It's true. Money is a huge distraction, and it's an incredible tool, and it's very important to have. And it, you know, it fuels our world because that's what we all are agreeing to. But if you don't have it, it's like, well, we don't have any money to go do anything. I guess we could like talk. We could like spend time together.
Yeah. Like, how are you really feeling? Because we don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
that's it.
I mean, and it's interesting because it's like we're on a platform that helps poor people be distracted from it, because it's like, well, I don't want to talk to you and be vulnerable, so I'm gonna look at some memes or whatever else, whatever other artificial cookies online there is. So thank you for watching this.
Yes. Thanks for taking the time to get some good cookies from us.
Yeah.
You know, this chapter, and thinking about that too, when a man's not in his purpose and he feels emasculated, weakened, like he's not powerful, and his woman's over here doing this, and when it just continues to break him down, and then he's like, yeah, go shopping, and he tries to buy her, shut her up with money, like, go
Yeah.
shopping, here's a car. And I mean, there's so many dysfunctional relationships that for so many reasons, but that's a big piece of, he doesn't feel respected, he doesn't feel empowered, he's not in his purpose and doing what he loves to create the world that she could fit into and shine in. So he's like, oh gosh, you're just nagging me and you're not helping. So there's a power struggle, and he doesn't know how to give her the tools so she can empower him. So he doesn't know how to appreciate her and give her what she needs. So, again, like, this book comes into that, like, it's like dealing with a tornado running through your house, and men are like, why are you a tornado? It's like, I'm a woman, I just am, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's a experience
That's
myself.
one of the aspects I appreciate about the book. Well, I like you, I love the book, but one is he definitely is inspiring men to move away from all the distractions, and
Yeah,
two, he's letting men know that your woman is the way that she is,
yeah.
and it's not your job to fix or change her. It's your job as a man to stay on your purpose. So it's like, if your woman is nagging you about your purpose, you have a choice. You can find a new woman, or you can stay on your purpose. But waiting for her to change so that you can then go on your purpose isn't an option,
Right.
with him. And that's what I appreciated. It goes back to like those micro truths that you were talking about, like when it comes to your purpose, are you gaining clarity on it? And then are you having conversations with your partner that are going to help you gain clarity on your purpose or continue on your purpose? Like, I know you and Jeremy are in alignment with your purpose. So it's like you guys get to have this beautiful relationship where you're coming together and your purpose is in alignment with your relationship. But like you said, that requires communication.
Oh yeah.
It's not, oh yeah, we're gonna find alignment after you go shopping.
No, we butt heads all the time, and that's what's great, is like, sometimes whatever it is that I'm feeling has nothing to do with him, and he'll come in the room and he'll be like, whoa. And and I'm just like, it's not you, I need some time to sort out what it is so I can talk about what it is, but right now it's you don't need to do anything with this. And we work together, we work, live, play, we do everything together. So our time that we spend together, there's a lot of that, like, sometimes we try and occupy the same space. And then we bump against each other, and it's like, okay, hang on, who's doing that right now? Like, okay, you do that, and then we have to like back off sometimes. So it's a conscious relationship, when you hear the term power couple, and I think that I would consider us that, and it's weird to even say that, but that's the space of empowering each other so you're both more powerful together. And like, being with someone who I feel like I can actually say that that's what we're doing. It's daily practice, daily effort, daily awareness, daily vulnerability, always.
Yes, and that goes to the micros, which leads to the macros, where
Yes.
if Jeremy was like, well, I know she's feeling bad and ice cream will help, or let's go here. So but now he's moving away from his purpose, and I can see you're like, well, ice cream might help. but
Ice
it's
cream totally helps, but usually it's the other way around. No,
yeah.
we did that because there was something he was working on, like his own situation he was working on, and I'm like, come on, let's go. And I'm like, let's go get ice cream right now. I'm like, let's just go do that. Let's get away from the space. And then we did, and then like, it's almost like using those distractions to kind of take the edge off so you can connect. I'm fully supportive of. But if it's constantly like, nope, not dealing with it, not working on, no, like, that doesn't work. But when you see that your partner's struggling and you take them and get ice cream, like, that's love. Like, come on, let's go get ice cream and then we can talk. Because trying to talk to him before, it's like trying to talk to me before I've settled down enough to even understand, what the heck is this? What am I feeling? it's not going to work. I'm just going to get pissed off. Like, don't come in and ask me what's wrong. Like, please God, don't ask me what's wrong. But I think that there's a place for taking the edge off and then like feeling everything settle a notch, and then like, what's present? How are you feeling? You know, do you want to talk, or do you need space, or whatever? So I think there's a place for it, but yeah, it's this much, you know, little tiny, like
A dash.
bite-sized cookies, little
Yeah.
bit of ice cream, but not maybe a gallon. So yeah, it's to me, the whole vulnerability thing is how much safety we felt growing up, who we have in our lives that we trust, that like if something happens that we need help and support, do you have someone that you can call and they will hear you, they will answer, they will come to you no matter what? Like, do you have that person or that tribe in your life that supports you or will show up for you no matter what you're going through? And you know, I have that, and I'm so grateful I have that, because I've been through situations where I'm like, well, let's see, who can I tell about this that isn't going to like drop me in the crazy loony bin and, you know, lock me up. Like, I really need support here, and this is not like a typical my tires flat. Like, this is big life stuff.
Yeah.
And like, so being, and also the vulnerability comes in that asking for help space, where when you learn to ask other people to help, that's a vulnerable space too.
Yes.
But then you're giving them an opportunity to help you. So I would imagine you're the kind of person that if someone asks you for help, you're like, yes, absolutely, I'm there, I'll take care of, what do you need?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, but when do you ask someone for help, and do you get that same, can you let someone help you as much as you are willing to help? And I mean, I'm a doer and a fixer, and I want to take care of everything. So
Yeah, that vulnerability. Even as
vulnerable.
you say, I'm like, oh, asking someone for help. I'm trying to stay focused on this conversation.
I'm just gonna challenge you a little bit,
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
micro challenge.
I gotta go to the grocery store real quick. There's some ice cream over there that I'm thinking
See?
about.
Bring me
Yeah.
back some. No, you're too far away, it'll melt.
Yeah. Yeah. And then for me, another thing that I appreciate that's been really valuable for me is the meditation practice, and me being able to connect with myself and what I'm actually feeling in the silence. For me is pretty valuable, only in the sense as I can tell what's mine and what's not mine more clearer. Because it's good to have people, but for me, it's like, especially as you keep going on this journey, like sometimes it's like, okay, I I need to know for myself what it is that I'm like. It goes back to the purpose, like what's in alignment with my purpose, and what's not in alignment. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, even the vulnerability with trusting your own intuition and yourself. I mean, how many people are like, yeah, I had a gut feeling, I should have known, like they don't listen to their own inner voice, and like just trusting yourself, and the vulnerability of, if you're getting intuitive hits in meditation, you're getting messages, you're getting, you know, whatever clarity on your purpose, it's probably important to listen to. You know, it's probably
Yeah.
trying to help you. And when you start listening to it and responding to it, you get more and more of it. Like, oh, you're listening. Here you
Right.
go.
Yeah. 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 That's why I definitely look at like the intuitive hits. I feel it's almost like it's like the best friend that's like, if you're not gonna do this, then there's
Yeah.
no need for me to tell you anything else, because you haven't even done the first step. It's like, how do I get out of bed? Well, are you gonna lift your shoulders up, or what are we even having to talk here for, when you're asking basic questions that you already know the answer to, you just don't want to do. So I'm just gonna sit here in silence. That
Yeah.
type of friend. And then it's like, oh, you've moved. Okay, now I can tell you more steps. But I'm not gonna say this is how you get to the mountaintop, when it's like, well, first you should go to the gym or walk around the block.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting that this is the way this conversation's going, is we're working, building these courses and helping people figure this stuff out. And what we realize is we need to go back to these micro level changes first, because if you can't walk around the block, you have no business even going outside towards the mountain. Like, don't do that. You'll be the one that the helicopter's taking out. Like, don't do that. And we jump into these big projects and these big ideas and these big life changes, and it's like every single time we start too big, like we take on too much, we start too big. And so it's interesting because there's that approach. And then there's the people who don't know where to start because there's so much they don't do anything. So there's like overactive and then inactive, like there's these two places where you get stuck. So you're doing too much and you're not productive. You're stuck because you're overwhelmed, you're not doing anything. So it's both of those come back to like, pick one thing, just one thing to focus on, and put all your energy on that and get one thing done. And it may be the one thing may be like cleaning out one drawer in your house. Don't try and clean your entire kitchen. Just go organize one drawer. And then you can say, I cleaned and organized a drawer today. Good job, me.
Yeah, that's important too. Congratulating yourself for the progress that you have made. Because I struggle with that. It's like I do 20 things and I'm like, well, I didn't do this, and this. So that's what I'm gonna focus on. And now I'm gonna be in a deep state of depression for the next 2 weeks because I didn't do those 7 things.
Where's my ice cream? I'm such a loser. Oh, I did nothing useful.
Yes.
Yeah, we are funny humans, and I love humans because we're so silly.
Yeah.
And we expect so much of ourselves and each other, and then we don't ask for help. Like, I didn't know you were moving. I would have helped you. I moved when I was pregnant with my son. I moved twice in the summer in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
And I had people that showed up and helped me. They're like, don't you can carry this pillow. I'm like, but yeah, having people, I mean, that was after I learned to ask for help, because that my journey there was, I was working full-time as a vet tech, and I was during my pregnancy. So I was leaving that job in literally 2 weeks before I was giving birth. So I had to teach everybody there what I was doing, and I had to hand off all of my responsibilities and let everybody else do all the work and just be available if they needed anything. So like letting go, delegating, asking for help, like that's all really vulnerable stuff.
Wow.
Delegating.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't realize that this vulnerability talk was going to be about me today.
Are you feeling it?
Delegating? What?
What do you need help with? Is there something you would like to ask for help?
I got it. I got it.
Oh, I know. I got this. I got this syndrome. Yeah, I've got that same situation. But I mean, I actually, it's funny because I've written a book called, what was it called? I unpublished it. It was called Hey You. Get out of your own way and create the life you actually want.
Wow.
So basically all the work that Jeremy and I are doing now is based on these principles. But one of the things that is in the very beginning is learn to ask for help and stop doing everything yourself. And I mean, you'll hear millionaires say that, like, why are you doing everything? If you're making enough money to pay one assistant to do a little bit, start delegating, let go. And it takes trust, and it takes, your vulnerability again. Like, shoot, I gotta give them my passwords. I gotta let them into my stuff. Like, oh, but it's
powerful. They're gonna look at my emails. What?
Yeah, you get to see all my browser history. No. It's our biggest societal secret, is what we actually look at on the internet, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And the day when all the text messages become public information. Like, oh no, those group texts with my friends, nobody was supposed to know about that. That's not how I really feel. We were just joking. We live in a society that can't take jokes. I didn't understand that. Now I've got to apologize for being vulnerable.
Yeah, or being really who you are and being seen.
Yeah.
I think that's it too, is there's so much freedom in being authentic. And when you have people in your life that celebrate your authentic self, and it's like, oh, what are you into? I'm into this weird stuff. Oh, I am too. Cool. Let's go do weird stuff together. Like there's this space, like there's so many people out there that are into what you're into, and you don't know it because you don't want to talk about it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, I totally understand. This weekend, like I told you, we were at the psychic fair, and I was talking to a couple people there, and it was so great to just freely say that I'm an energy whore, and that's why I was there.
I love
And
it.
like they understood, but like there's a lot of places where I can't be like I'm an energy whore for a variety of different reasons.
Right.
But just to know that it's like, yes, I'm an energy whore, and I just want to work on as many people there as I possibly can, because the energy, like, it's orgasmic for me. Like it's one of those things where it's hard to explain to people, but like touching someone and feeling their pain turns me on. like like
Like, I'm
and
gonna help you let this go.
yeah, and that's like even the even better part is like it not only turns me on, but it helps them
Yeah.
most of the time. And if it hasn't, they haven't told me.
All right, we're gonna call you out right now because you just said turns you on, and that is a trigger for people, and it will be because masculine energy should be turned on like that.
Yes.
I'm totally validating what you're saying, because
Okay.
when
Yeah.
you're turned on, you're channeling that life force, and that's the only way you can Reiki, is
Yeah.
channeling that life force. So if
Yes.
you say turned on, tapped in, tuned in, turned on, or whatever, however you want to interpret it, that's the space we thrive in, is being turned on. And that's what this book is all about. Like, you're supposed to be turned on. You're supposed to be, feeling this energy. It's what you do with it that matters, like all those things. But
Yes.
when you're in a space, I'm getting goosebumps. So yeah, I feel love it.
You're feeling how turned on I'm getting, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're both turned on. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's this excitable life force
Yeah.
that happens. And it's like so many people are like, oh gosh, I shouldn't do this. Like, wait, who are you? Oh, don't you have a girlfriend? I shouldn't.
Yeah. And
What's
it's
your
like,
partner gonna think if we're sitting here doing a video and getting turned on together? We're gonna put this in
yeah.
a public group. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, oh yeah. You can't show this to the public. Everybody will know that we were turned on together. No.
We're gonna go viral.
But I mean, isn't it so sad that we live in a society where like being turned on is not supposed to happen?
Right.
Like, we're supposed to be turned off.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why people are taking pills and doing all this stuff, because you're not allowed to be turned on. You're not allowed to be excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, but be vulnerable, share. Well, this is what turns me on. Oh my God, no.
Don't be vulnerable like that, though. Be vulnerable in a way that makes me feel okay.
Yeah. Be vulnerable by crying at this TV show that you don't want to watch.
Yeah. Vulnerability is that too, like being comfortable in your own expression of being turned on. Like, it's energy, is sexual energy, is life force energy, is all the same. And the people that we're attracted to are the ones that are flowing that through them and sharing it. So I mean, I'm sure when you're standing there at a psychic fair and there's people coming like, oh, I like him. Ooh, I like him. He's shiny. Like, and they're drawn to you.
Yeah.
And they want you to touch them.
Yeah.
It's like, when you say it's orgasmic, like, well, what is an orgasm? That's the peak of the energy moving through your body. Like, hello. It's like,
Yeah.
duh. So it's
full body just flowing through.
Yes, it's what we're supposed to do. And when we live in that space, we create quickly, we manifest quickly, we attract the right things. It's the flow state. I mean, that's what it is. It's the space of being in flow and allowing whatever God force, Reiki, whatever you want to call it, it's allowing it to come through you and into the world. So it unblocks stuff, and it allows things to happen.
Yes.
It's fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
And it's fun, and it's okay. It's okay to have fun, people.
Yeah. and then do it as much as you want.
Yeah, but I think that there's a misconception there, because like you and I could go meet up somewhere and go out in public and walk around and just people would be like, whoa, they would feel it. They would
Mhm.
feel what we radiate. And that's part of, like, I didn't know that this was what I was like until somebody else told me, like, you radiate a lot of energy. I'm like, you sorry, should I not do that?
Yeah. Yeah, let me shut down. I'm gonna disappear
Let me
now.
just slow me. But it was weird because I didn't know that was what was happening. Like I didn't, that was my natural state. So I didn't didn't occur to me that I was affecting people until someone said, they're like, I feel like you're like a fireplace, and you're just radiating this warmth, and I just want to come curl up in you. I'm like, oh,
Wow.
thanks.
Yeah.
So stuff like people said stuff like that to me, and I'm like, oh, I think there's a piece of it too, that our natural state is that, and when we stop feeling afraid of it and guilty about it, it's fine, and it allows us to do what we're doing and shine. Be
Yeah. Yeah, I like that you use those words, because this morning in meditation, I was thinking how the sun just makes love to the ocean
Mhm.
all day. Like that's all it's doing is staying turned on, and the ocean is, every wave is just accepting that heat, that penetration. It's just allowing it to happen. And no one's like, oh my God, do you see what the sun is doing to the ocean right now?
Yeah,
Oh my, somebody put some shades on the sun so it can stop doing that to the ocean.
doing that.
So wrong. Do you know what the sun is? Do you see where those rays are going? Oh my God. And the ocean is so wet right now.
That's right. It's so excited and
What
splashed
is going on here?
because
So
the tidal wave coming. Yeah, even plants. If you've seen, like, we've got these plants in the yard, they're called mallow, and they're these green leafy shamrocky looking plants. And during the day, they face the sun and they move all day. They're just like, sun, oh, thank you. Oh, and then at the end of the day, and then they kind of shrink a little bit when the sun goes down. And
yeah.
somehow over at the sunrise, they're like, oh, there you are. And they nature's very sexy. I mean, nature's good at this, like, giving and receiving energy. I mean, look what nature does. It doesn't need permission. It doesn't feel guilty about it.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
does it. Yeah.
I think we could be better at this. And there's a huge conversation there because of the healthy sexuality, healthy sexual energy, healthy vulnerability. There's a lot of wounded people that take advantage of and really pervert the energy of sexuality and turn it into something that's not healthy and good, and shut it down, and and make it yucky.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's always a potential to trigger people's traumas that can make that energy like, I don't know if I want that. That's a little too open, a little too free. I don't know if that's okay. Like, well, that's you then, because
Yeah.
those plants think it's fine. No, it thinks it's fine. So what are we doing wrong here, guys?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
And vulnerability is a beautiful thing. And start small. Start with little conversations, little questions, and like you said, oh, this is about you, huh? Is this the Thaddeus needs to be more vulnerable conversation?
yeah. Yeah.
Thaddeus
Start
needs to get
small, then
through.
grow big.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it always brings something up in people to, when you're willing to look at yourself and examine that, like, that's even vulnerable. Like, just being like, oh, how could I be more vulnerable? I mean, just that question alone that's what you're doing.
Yes.
You are, by asking that question, just a little bit at a time. But
Yeah.
I want you to ask for help this week. That's
Yeah. Ask for help this week.
yeah,
Oh.
that's what I want you to do. Just one time.
I can't hear you. I think your internet's going up.
Oh no! What is this thing
What?
on?
I heard something about how can you ask for
That-
I couldn't hear the words.
That was that's what I'm gonna give you for homework. You're gonna ask for help
Ask
one
for help
time.
one time. All right.
Can you do that?
Okay, I'm
All
gonna
right.
do it.
That's my assignment for you as a superior man.
All right. Okay, so those are my cookies. I'm gonna ask for some cookies this week.
That's right. Good. I think we jabbered enough today. We're good.
Good.
Well,
All right.
thanks for watching, everybody. If you made it this far, I hope we've made your day better. I hope you've enjoyed some stuff, and
Yeah.
we'll see you next time.
And stay turned on.
Stay turned on and eat more cookies.
More cookies.